Welcome! Hi fabulous fiber friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen and I am your host. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers. I know there are a lot of YouTube channels to watch on knitting and I'm just very happy that I am one of them that you care to spend some time with. Thank you. Should we talk about the elephant in the room? It's not an elephant, it's my boy Lollipop. This garment is a design by Nancy of Getting Pearly with It, and I just love this pattern. Oh my gosh, you guys, I should be working on the cowl, the Roselle T cowl, and I started it. I finished the back piece. And I should have cast on the front piece. Did I? No. Getting Pearly with It, Nancy was posting a lot of images of all her versions of this sweatshirt, of this sweater. And I went crazy. I said, oh my God, I have to make that right away. So I looked at my yarn, and I had yarn that I actually picked up last year at the Yarn Crawl 2018 Los Angeles Yarn Crawl from my favorite knit store. So this top is made with, it's called Knit Stitch, that's the yarn company. Let me show you. Knit Stitch. And this colorway is called Flamingo Assassin. I had to think a second. Flamingo Assassin. I just love it. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so nice. Love it. The pattern, let me tell you about the pattern. It is super easy. It's top down. It's sleeveless, so you don't get stuck on Sleeve Island or whatever. Because it's spring and crop tops are kind of coming back. When I in the 70s, we called them midriffs, not crop. I don't remember calling them crop tops. We called them midriffs. So they were a little shorter and a little bit of your belly was exposed with your hip hugger jeans, which now they're bringing back the 80s jeans and the 70s tops. I think if I have my fashion history correct, I think that's it. I should have been working on the Roselle T cowl, but I was so excited for this top that I couldn't stop myself. So here's the top. I'm up on tippy toes. I did add an extra purl stitch on each side here, right down the center on each side to simulate faux seams. Just because I don't know, you don't have to, because there's negative ease in here. It isn't necessary, but I'm kind of in the habit of doing it, so I did it. And it's fine. But I added a little bit, what I was going to say is I added most of your stockinette will knit just below the bust, which I guess this does, maybe an inch below. I added a couple more rows, and then I went into the ribbing. And for the ribbing, I went down a needle size about halfway through so that would hit right where I'm narrower, and then I went back out again for several more rows. I increased the needle size back to where it was for the body. I love this top. And have I started another one? Well, thank you for asking. I most certainly have. So my next one, same thing, knit stitch yarns. I'll show you again. I'm using the same yarn, knit stitch yarns, but in a different colorway. This one is Flamingo with a Chance of Clouds. Here's the colorway. And I'm almost done with my raglan increases. And I should really be working on my cowl, my other garment, but I can't stand it. I love this pattern so much that, and I'm already wondering, I bought some yarn from Asylum Fibers for another project, and then as I'm knitting this My Boy Lollipop, I thought, gosh, Maybe I'll make another My Boy Lollipop in the sort of salmon or peachy color. Oh. Maybe, you know, I could do it in this. So maybe I'll do another one with the Asylum Fibers in that colorway, which is, what is that colorway again? Embrace Your Crazy. Oh my God, Embrace Your Crazy. I think that was the pin that Shamika helped design with Stephanie. Shamika is a graphic artist, a graphic designer, and she designed the pins for Stephanie, or they worked in collaboration. I forget how it went, but I have one of the pins too. Oh my gosh, I just thought of that. How funny. Oh, you guys, wait, let me finish. So it is a great, great pattern. Pattern is perfect. Thank you so much for My Boy Lollipop. And Nancy is running a cal. I think it starts May 1st. If you want to join in the cal. Oh my God, you guys, it's so hot in here. I don't want to turn on the air conditioning, and I think it's about in the high 80s here in LA, or at least in my area of Los Angeles, and I'm so hot I should put my hair up. But if you want to join in the cal, the My Boy Lollipop, I think it runs through the month of May. And check out Nancy Getting Pearly with It. Go to her Instagram account and you can get all the details. In case you are unaware, Yarn Scout is running a special, a discount on Hedgehog Fibers Sporty Merino in the non-superwash base. If memory serves, they're discontinuing that base. So I bought a few and those arrived today. So I bought the, wait, I need glasses to see. Which colorway is this? Ink. So I bought ink and, which is this? Eel. Ink and eel. Let me show you those. Ink and eel. That's those two colorways. I have no idea what I'm going to make with these, but I need to have them in my stash. I'm going to talk about this little gal here. Many of you have asked me how I free knit, sort of freestyle knit a garment. I take, in this case, this lace pattern is from a pattern called the Matrimonio Bolero. I will insert some pictures. I'm actually making another Matrimonio Bolero. I will show you in a moment. But what I did for this one, well, years and years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I made the Matrimonio Bolero with a fingering weight, and I think I combined it with a mohair. So that will give you maybe a sport weight. This one, I wanted a cotton. I wanted to see what it would look like in a top. And I've made actually several. I have a white one, a blue one, this green one. I think I've made it in red, and I don't know. So I just used the lace pattern. I cast on, I took a guess based on my gauge from the original Bolero. It's actually more of a shrug. And I used that number to figure out my cast on number of stitches, and then based on the pattern, I think this is a pattern repeat of 8, and if you're working it flat, so it's 8 plus 3 or plus 5, I forget now. And so I did. I cast on my appropriate number of stitches and started knitting. And for those of you that have watched me, you know, I've mentioned it before, I will knit 6 or so inches. I will wash and block, not hard block. I'll just wash it and dry it, lay it and, kind of flatten it out, let it dry, measure it, and to see if I'm on target with the positive, negative, or no ease that I want for the garment. And of course, this one I wanted some positive ease, but not too much. I wanted a little drape. The yarn I'm using here is a Cascade Ultra Pima. It's a DK weight, but it's 100% cotton yarn. It's a little stiff when you start knitting with it, but once you've washed it a couple of times, the yarn softens up and it has a very nice drape to it. So if you're looking for a nice cotton, summery, spring, summer, fall yarn to work with, Cascade Ultra Pima, and they do have an Ultra Pima Light. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with this. There's an Ultra Pima Light. I think that is the sport weight. I like the DK weight because it comes, I think it's about 220 yards, and the thinner weight, the sporty weight, is maybe 110 or something like that. And so I just feel like I get a little more mileage out of this. And the nice thing is you can use bigger needles. I think I used a 7 or 8 needle on this, maybe an 8. So you get a nice, the fabric, as you can see, it's nice and flowy. And this one, and something else I do especially with lace garments, I will put not only just edge, like an edge stitch for seaming. So I always slip the first stitch as if to purl, and then knit the very last stitch, right, on the right side row. And then on the wrong side row, same thing. I slip as if to knit, and let's say your pattern calls for you to purl all the way across. So I will slip as if to knit that first stitch, I will purl across to the very last stitch, I will knit the last stitch. So those 2 edge stitches, those lay in such a way it's easy to pick up for seaming. So if you're not a fan of seaming the mattress stitch, for me, I have found that works really well. And I don't like doing the back stitch. I'm not comfortable with it. It's not my preferred seaming method. I really like the mattress stitch. And if you do those edge stitches, you can see it. But in addition to those edge stitches, I forget here, I included, I think, 2 extra stitches so that I have a little bit of a seam here that if you want to make any shaping, you can do that within those stockinette stitches. Sometimes I will shape in lace. I will go up or down a needle size, and sometimes I will do my shaping within those stockinette stitches. It just depends. There's no rhyme or reason necessarily. I do it as I feel it coming to me. So that's how I did that. And on this particular one, I did I think a 3x3 or 4x4 ribbing, and then as you can see, it's just a boat neck. So you just knit all the way up to the top, bind off, and then sew your shoulders. And these are, they're not quite drop sleeves. I really like the look of having a bind off for the underarm. So I bind off, let's say 4 or 5 stitches, for the underarm. I might decrease once or twice, maybe, and if not, then I don't. And then when I do the sleeve, I will do the same thing. I will bind off, the 4 stitches, and then maybe knit another row or 2 or 4, and then I'll bind off all of it, and then just insert my sleeve. So it's not quite a drop sleeve. It's a modified drop sleeve. And so the front and the back look exactly the same. So that's one way in which I just sort of freestyle knit. I want to show you something else I'm working on, the Bolero, which is where I took this pattern from. Okay, so this is the Matrimonio Bolero. I will, in editing, I'll remember to put a picture in for you guys. The pattern calls to knit from sleeve across to the body part, which is just across the back. It doesn't cover your front at all. And then you go into the sleeve again, which I have done in the past. The first time I made this pattern was, 8 or 9 years ago. And I think I've made one other since. This one, and that's where I got the lace from here. I really loved the lace pattern. And so I just used it for the pattern, for the design for this. I just took my lace pattern from there. So this time I'm using 3 yarns held together, 3 lace. Why am I holding 3 together? I don't know. I didn't want the glitter to be too dominant, I guess, and I just wanted like a little poke of glitter, so I decided to put 2 lace weight together. Plus, I wanted the project to go quickly, and I'm making this. I'm on a deadline. I'm attending a baby shower the first Saturday of May, and I have a very dark blue dress, and it's sleeveless. It has an umpire waist and a V-neck, and sort of it's sleeveless, but there's a little ruffle sort of here. But if it's hot here and we're indoors, there will be air conditioning and I don't want to be cold, so I would like to have some sort of little throw, but I don't want a shawl, I don't want to cover up the dress. The dress is beautiful and I really want something subtle, that will keep my arms warm. It'll give me a little warmth and it'll look really great. And this, I tried several colors. I knit up several samples and I like this colorway best. These three together, plus they match. I should show you the shoes. Oh my God. Oh, I'll show you after I wear my outfit. I'll put it all together. Here is what the fabric looks like knit up. And I don't think you can see the glitter in here right now. I will have to take a picture in the sun and show you. This version, instead of knitting it sleeve to sleeve, I'm going to knit it halfway and then I will keep this on the needles, start the other sleeve and knit halfway, and then I will do a Kitchener stitch in the center. And I hope that works out because I have never, well, that's not true. This will be the second time I've ever done a Kitchener stitch. And the first time was on, I would say, a pair of socks, but I never finished the pair. I did a sock, one sock, and decided that sock knitting was just not in the cards for me, at least not right now. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. So I'll Kitchener stitch and hopefully it'll work out so that I can wear it with the dress. Many of you have expressed interest in the sand art or stratum cowl. I have not yet decided what to call it, but I'm the sand art or stratum cowl. Many of you have expressed interest in this cowl and doing it. I've thought about, I will do a tutorial, or what I may do is have you guys, I'll let you know when I'm ready because I need to start another one. I just need to get the beginning going. And then what I may do is I will record the camera. I'll knit this way. My camera's set up. I'm not sure I can have the camera hover like this so that I can show you how I'm doing it. So maybe I'll figure that out. But yes, I will do a tutorial. So please, if you want, and I will do it soon-ish. So within the next, let's say within the month, I hope to have that ready. So think about your yarns. I would recommend, although it's up to you, I mean, be creative as you want. For this particular one, I think I used, and I did hold 2 strands together sometimes, so I think I used probably 4 yarns, maybe 5, but some of them were held doubly. So I would count those, when they're held double, I would count those only as one colorway because I held them with another yarn. So I kept sort of in the purple themes here, right? I have the lighter and darker and bluish purple. But then in this one, right, I went a little crazy with some blacks and pinks and yellow because I just had extra yarn that I wanted to test it out. So use your creativity, pick out your yarns, pick out, 4 or 5 colors. I used fingering mostly, but some lace weight, and I would hold the lace weight with a mohair, but not throughout the whole thing. I would just put it in where I felt like putting it in. So think about that. Get your colors ready. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have a lot of leftovers that you can use. So pick those out and then start. You can do your cast on. I think I used a number, I'm a loose knitter, so I used a number 3 needle. You could probably use a number 4. I think I cast on 115 stitches, 110 stitches, somewhere in there. Use it, if you have used a size 3 or 4 needle and fingering weight yarn, think about the size of hats and the number of stitches you have cast on for a hat. And think about, okay, maybe I want my cowl to be a little wider than that. And then cast on a few more stitches, or it depends how tight or loose you want your cowl to be. And then what we're going to do is we will increase a few stitches as we go down so it makes a slight funnel, or you can make it straight. It's up to you. I mean, that's the beauty. So it's really hard for me to write a pattern and even a recipe because I would rather talk you through it, and maybe that you know, you can sort of write down what makes sense to you, because there really isn't even a recipe. It's sort of just go. So if you get ready and then cast on, do it, or if you want to do a ribbing, like this one I started with a rib. The neckline has the rib. So I did that to see what would happen. That'll be a nice straight neckline, right? It doesn't roll. Oh, this one too I did a ribbing. But this one, my test, when I test it, my gauge, I let it curl and roll, which is fine too. I like that, because that then it has a very soft edging, and that works really well too. So do cast on, you know, a few inches, whatever you want for your the beginning, and then stop. And then within the month, I will have something for you guys. We can sort of do it together. You can watch me, and we'll do it together, and I hope that works out. I'm very flattered. Thank you so much. I had such great positive feedback on those cowls. Many of you have expressed interest that you want to make them as Christmas presents, or you know, Christmas, Hanukkah presents. So yeah, to start now, you'll have the summer, and these don't take long. You can do this in a few days if you want. There isn't much to think about, except, well, we'll go into it. Okay, so there is a dress I made quite a few years ago. It is called the Hannah dress. You guys, let me dress my little Missy here, and I will show this to you. So this could be a great summer cover up, right? If you're at the beach and you want to go to the restaurant, you can throw this on over your bathing suit and you're dressed, right? In flip-flops or sandals or something. So that's why I thought I would mention this. The yarn I used for this is also the Cascade Ultra Pima. You hold it double. I think this one was, I forget if this was the Sport Weight or the DK. This too is a super fast knit. I think you use size like 11 or 13 needles on this. So it's very, very fast. And it is set in sleeves, or drop sleeves or set in sleeves. I made this so long ago. I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't really remember. But it's super easy. Look at this. The front, the back, right? The back is just slightly higher than the front, the neckline. And again, it's the same. This is super fast. So for those of you who have grandchildren or kids, or for yourselves, these are great gifts, right? As a summer cover-up. I wear it over tanks and leggings, but yeah, it would make a great cover-up, I think. And you can do it in, you know, really cool bright colors. You know, think about, oh, you could even do it in great neon, bright colors, you know, over a really cool bathing suit. Like, oh, let's say you have a black bathing suit and you do it in a neon green or neon yellow. That would be really cool. Well, for those of us that love color and you like shocking color. So that is that. Let me check my notes. Another sweater I'm working on. Again, my theme today is, I guess, how I change patterns. See all my pins? I'm getting my little pin collection going. See my little pins? I picked up a few more pins at the Yarn Crawl. And here's Embrace Your Crazy, which is the colorway by Asylum Fibers. And that's Shamika designed. So I have the Embrace Your Crazy pin and the colorway. Another, again, because I get a lot of requests from people, relatively a lot. I get several, let's be honest, I get several requests from people asking me, again, how do you just freestyle knit? You guys have made garments, right? Even if you've made shawls, you know sort of your gauge. Based on your weight and your needle size, you kind of know what your tension is. So that's what I use. And because I keep my little crazy notes on pieces of paper and I save those and I put them in plastic paper protectors, I keep that. If I want to just free knit, I will, and I think, okay, I want to use this weight yarn, that needle, you know, I look at notes from other projects I've made, and then I go from there. I say, okay, I'm going to cast on X stitches, and I kind of, you know, I measure and I see where I'm at, and if I'm on target, great. If I'm not, I tear out and start over. So this sweater, which is just a basic sweater, right? And that's a fingering weight and a lace weight combined, held together throughout. so I found this yarn, this Lang yarn. It's the Lang Millie Colory Baby. I ordered some of this yarn thinking I would make those cowls with it, and because it's variegated, anyway, when I saw this yarn, I decided, oh my gosh, I want to make something with it before I use the extras in a cowl. So I went to my stash and I was looking, what can I hold together with this and this mohair together? And to me, I thought these two would go well together. And here is what it looks like combined. So based on the other sweater I showed you, this one, I wanted this one with a little bit less positive ease, and I wanted a V-neck, and so I used whatever needle size, I think an 8 and a 9. And I started with the 8, I did my ribbing, then I changed to a number 9, and then I knit up, did my sleeves, my V-neck, and do you know what I did? The great thing, the Roselle T cowl, which I should be working on, I used the techniques learned in that cowl on this for my decreases here. So they look much cleaner and nicer, my decreases. But so this, right, so I'll have my V-neck, and then I will do a rib, some kind of rib. Right, I'll just do a little bit of a ribbing there. And sleeves, of course. So that's really it. That's how I do my freestyle knitting. I save my meticulous notes. And on Ravelry, I do have notes there, but I'm not, especially not from a long time ago, my notes are not as detailed because I make all kinds of little crazy notes. And if I'm doing a mirror stitch, I will put what kind of mirror I'm doing. Am I doing an SSK? Am I doing a slip one, knit one, pass over to mirror the knit two together? Am I doing Patty Lyons one move SSK, which now I learned, and it's much cleaner looking. It's a much cleaner decrease. So I make all those notes, and to put that all in Ravelry is just too much. But as I'm writing, and I don't have a problem with that, I will make, I'll keep all my notes, and that way I have them, and then it's pretty easy to go back and just use another type of yarn but the same weight, and just knit something else up. Let me look at my notes. I think, guys, that's about it for today. So you have my little crazy dancing. Definitely go check out my Boy Lollipop. Thanks for watching. If you like my mishigas here, all my crazy crazies, then hit the like button or the thumbs up. And as usual, if it's not your thing, thank you so much for watching. Please be kind. No need to hit the thumbs down button. Happy knitting, happy crocheting, and have a great 2 weeks until I see you next time. Bye.